Hello everyone, welcome to our visionary classes. Here we are with the our first lecture series on the environmental UVC net numerical based questions. So what we are going to read here, we are going to deal with all kinds of numericals that are coming in our exam from different parts of the environmental science syllabus. So before I would like to start my lecture, I would suggest you to subscribe our channel and contact us for the latest study material and also join our regular online classes. So let's join. Directly I am coming to the questions. So the first questions here we can see that what it tells about. It tells about a person is exposed to sound levels of 80 dB and 100 dB simultaneously. So what is the average noise of the person experience? Okay. So इस तरीके के questions अगर आए मतलब if there comes this kind of question, so what you will going to do? Okay, so for this kind of questions we have made one table. Here we can see if the difference, okay, if the difference, the first dB level and the second dB level, if there is a difference in the sound levels, so we have a kind of sequence of our different series along with their conversion factor. So what is this? If we have a difference of 0 between the two sound level, so हम क्या करेंगे इसमें? We will add 3 to the higher level. Okay, higher amount. So if there is a difference of, suppose we have a difference of 80 and there is a difference of 80, again there are 2 dB level, 80 dB and 80 dB. So what you will do, you just add plus 3 to the 80, so you will get answer as 83 dB for the resultant sound level. So here we have a number of difference between the two noise levels as well as their correction factor, which will give you the resultant. So for 0 we have 3, for 1 we have 2.5, for 2 we have 2.1, for 3 we have 1.8 addition, for 4 we have 1.5 addition, for 5 we have 1.2, and for 6 we have 1, and for 7 we have 0.8, for 8 we have 0.6, and for 9 we have 0.5, as well as for 10 we have 0.4. So in our question it was given that the two sound levels are 80 and 100 dB. So what in case of greater than 100? So what we will do? So if we have two sound levels which have a difference between them greater than 10, so you should not add anything, you just write the higher value. Okay, so here the higher value was 100 dB, so the difference between the two level was 20 dB, which is greater than 10. So the addition factor occurs just that we will add the 0 to the higher level like in the first case. So we get the answer of 100 dB, but that is not given in our answer. The approximate answer that is close to our answer, that was 97 dB level. So this is the first question we are dealing from the noise pollution lesson. Okay, now come to the second question, that is belongs to the energy. Okay, so what is the question telling here? For a solar plate collector, the following data is given. Useful heat gain is 28 watt per meter square per hour. Solar radiation intensity is 350 watt per meter square per hour. And the factor to convert the beam radiation to that one on the plane of the collector is 1.2. So the collector efficiency is what? Okay, this is the question. So what here given that there is a useful heat gain. So what is the useful heat gain? It's the resultant output that a solar plate collector is getting. So the power output should be the 28 watt per meter square per hour, while the solar radiation intensity that is coming to the solar plate collector, that is 350 watt meter per hour, but the factor that converts the beam radiation to that plate is the collector is 1.2. So therefore we have the formula of efficiency, that power output divided by power in into 100. So we get in the upper there is a 28 divided by 350. We should also multiply the conversion factor so that we get the power input multiplied into 100. So our answer got 6.67. So this is the answer that we have. So this is the second question that comes from the energy topic of the environment. Okay, energy topic of the environment. Now the third question is also from the energy topic. So here we are dealing with the solar energy. Okay, what does it tells? A solar cell of surface area 5 centimeter delivers a current of 0.1 ampere at 0.6 volt. If the intensity of the solar radiation impinging on the solar cell is 1 kilowatt per meter square, the efficiency of the solar cell is. So again there is a question on the solar cell efficiency. So what we will do, the same formula we will apply, the power output divided by input into our power area. Okay, so in the efficiency we always write the power output divided by power in. So here we can see the output term is regarded as the solar cell power. Okay, the power formula for a solar cell, when voltage and current is given, we should write the power equal to voltage into current. So P equal to B into I. This is the formula. So here what we will do, we just write our P equal to V into I. So here I have written 1.1 ampere as current and 0.6 ampere as a voltage, and divided by the input solar radiation, that is 1 kilowatt per meter square, but we have to convert it into our watt. So we will write it just 1000 watt into the solar cell surface area, that is 5 centimeter square, that we also convert into the meter square, so that we will get the answer. So here we will get 1000 into 0.005. So this is the formula. We should remember this kind of formula when it is coming in the exam. So the efficiency formula is output power divided by input power into 100. So the final answer we got from this formula is the 12%. So this is the answer, that is 12%. So in this question we are dealing with the atmospheric environmental science. So what is the question? If the scale height of a pressure is assumed to be 7 km. So the scale height given as 7 km. What will be the pressure at the height of 21 km? That is the question. So before we will attending this question, we should remember what is the formula of the pressure at a height. Okay, the formula of pressure at a height is equal to the pressure at the sea level exponential function bracketed minus z, that is the height, upon h, that is the scale height. Okay, atmospheric scale height, where k is the Boltzmann constant, t is the temperature, and m is the molecular mass of the gas, and g is the acceleration due to gravity, that is 9.8 meter per second square. Okay, so the scale height represents the vertical distance above the surface at which the decrease in the pressure is exactly 1 upon E. Okay, that is exponential. So the value of the E is 2.718, that is to the power minus 1. So it gives 0.368 as a particular value. As we know, the actual scale height of our earth is 7.64 kilometer. Okay, but according to question we have that 7 kilometer is the our scale height. So at 7 km the pressure decreased by a factor of 0.368. But if we consider at 21 km we should have 3.68 multiplied thrice time to get the actual answer. So at 21 km we have 0.368 to the power 3. The value is 0.049, that is 0.05. The actual percentage is 5%. Okay, so the sea level pressure is, we know we have also been acquainted with this kind of terms, because sea level pressure, we should know what is the sea level pressure, what is the sea level temperature, and what is the sea level density of our Earth. Okay, so at the sea level pressure we got 101.325 kilopascal. We should convert that kilopascal into the pascal, and then we will get the answer as approx answer, that is 5 into 10 to the power 3 pascal. That is our answer. Here it is given that 5 into 10 to the power 3 pascal. So I hope you enjoyed this kind of questions. So this question is from the atmospheric environmental science part. Okay, now next slide we will see this question is coming also from the our energy lesson. So what is the question here? A photon in which a visible blue region irradiates a silicon solar cell, how much energy of the photon will be wasted? Okay, so here we are asking about the wasted energy. Okay, so in order to absorb in the semiconductor silicon, the photon must have a minimum of 1.1 electron volt. Okay, so what is the concept behind here? So before I will proceed, I would like to make you understand that what is the concept behind here, because we know that photon is a charged particle, and photon, as it is a charged particle, it must have some energy, that is equivalent to 1.6 into 10 to the power minus 19 joule. Okay, and that is the value of the 1 electron volt. That is the value of 1 electron volt. So in order to absorb in the semiconductor, we must have a electron volt that is greater than 1 electron volt. So a value that is greater than 1 electron volt is will always absorb in the semiconducting silicon, that is 1.1 electron volt. Okay, and rest of the energy will be wasted. Okay, only 1.1 electron volt will be absorbed, that is beyond the threshold value of 1 electron volt to electron to conduct. Okay, so a photon with less energy than this cannot be absorbed, as we have already stated that, while one with more energy will transport 1.1 electron volt to the solar cell, while the remaining will be wasted as a heat. So this is the kind of concept you should build about the silicon based solar cell. Okay, so and now a photon is visible in the blue region. Okay, we also need to remember this, that a photon is visible in the blue region with a wavelength of 4 into 10 to the power minus 7 meter, as we know that starts from the Vivgoy. Okay, so has an energy of 3.1 electron volt. So how should we calculate that 3.1 electron volt? Somebody asked me, how should I calculate 3.1 electron volt? So what we will use, we use this equation. Okay, E equal to Sc by lambda. Okay, this is the photoelectric equation. You should remember this equation and you should use this equation to get your answer. We know that H is the Planck's constant, nu is the frequency, and lambda is the wavelength of the radiation, and c is the speed of light. So here we have a photon is, as we know, the photon is visible in the blue region of the wavelength, so that is 4 into 10 to the power 7 minus 7 meter, has an energy of 3.1 electron volt. We have used this formula to calculate this value. Okay, so it will give 3.1 electron volt, but the absorbing power of our semiconducting silicon is 1.1 electron volt. So if we minus 1.1 electron volt from this value, we will get 2 electron volt. So our actual answer is 2 electron volt will be wasted. So I hope this is a kind of question that is difficult for most of the persons, but you should remember this concept in order to answer in the UGC exam. Okay, so this is a question from only energy lesson. Now here we consider the question from the environmental biology sector. Okay, so what we will be learning here? So if the question is given that if a bacterium with a 20 minutes generation time is grown under an optimal condition of 37 degree, one cell would multiply to 10 to the power 3 cell in 3.3 hours. How much time it will take to multiply to 10 to the power 6 cells? Okay, as though this question is very simple, but we can use it by two types of technique. Okay, so it is a very simple, as 10 to the power 3 cells multiply in 3.3 hours. Okay, next 10 to the power 3 cells will multiplied in the same time that of 3.3 hours. So 10 to the power 6 cell will be multiplied in 3.3 plus 3.3 equal to 6.6 hours. But we can also use a formula that is very useful for calculating the generation time. That is G is the generation time, is equal to the total time taken in hours divided by N, that is number of generations. So how should you calculate the number of generation? The value of number of generations you can use here, that is 3.3 log small b upon big B. So what is the small b and big B? That is number of bacteria at the beginning of the cell, and B is the number of bacteria at the end of the cell. You can use this formula also to calculate this kind of cell. I am leaving this job to you, so you should try this formula and calculate this. If you will not get the answer, you just comment me in the section. I will send you the answer also. Okay. So in the next question, you are seeing that there is a question that comes from the atmosphere again. Okay, that is, assume that atmosphere is isothermal at 25 degrees and the estimated maximum daily surface temperature is 35 degrees Celsius. The mixing height is what? If we take the adiabatic lab site as 1 degree Celsius per 100 meter. So atmosphere is isothermal. There is no change in the temperature. Okay, at 25 degree. Okay, at 25 degrees Celsius, the atmosphere is isothermal. There is no exchange of heat in the atmosphere. That is mentioned in the question as we have written here. Okay, now the maximum daily surface temperature is also there. At the surface, we are also seeing 35 degrees Celsius. Okay, if we consider the adiabatic lab site of 1 degree Celsius per 100 meter, so what is the difference between this kind of temperature? That is 35 degree minus 25 degree, that is 10 degrees Celsius. We have here 35 degree minus 25 degree, that is 10 degrees Celsius here. Okay, so the difference between the two temperatures is 10 degrees Celsius. The adiabatic lab site is 1 degree Celsius per 100 meter. So for 10 degrees Celsius to decrease, we should have minimum 1000 meter. Okay, so 10 degrees Celsius will decrease per 1000 meter because the lab site is 1 degree Celsius per 100 meter. Accordingly, the 10 degrees Celsius will be decreased at the 1000 meter. So this is a very simple question. Just we have to know the basic concept of the lab site to answer this. Okay, so the mixing height is 1 kilometer. Okay, this is the answer. So this is a question that we are observing here. It comes from the environmental chemistry part. Okay, so what is this question telling us? So let us read this. The molar extinction coefficient of hydrogen peroxide at 240 nanometer is 0.04 molar inverse centimeter inverse. The concentration of hydrogen peroxide in a solution which has a absorbance of 0.6 in the 3 centimeter cubed will be. So we are here able to find the concentration. Before we should proceed, we should remember that what is Beer-Lambert's law. Okay, Beer-Lambert's law tells us that absorbance equal to molar extinction coefficient, that is K is a constant, into the concentration into the path length of the cuvette, that is A equal to KCl. Okay, this is the formula. So here A is the absorbance of the solution, K is the constant, that is molar extinction coefficient, C is the concentration of the solute being measured, and L is the path length. Okay, so according to question, we have the absorbance equal to 0.63, the molar extinction coefficient is 0.04, and the path length of the cuvette is 3, as well as we have to find the concentration that we can take as a C. So in the C is the 0.6 divided by 0.04 into 3, that we get 5 molar. Okay, so this is the concentration of our hydrogen peroxide solution. So this is the answer, that is A equal to 5. Now again, moving into the next question, that is coming from the ecology based questions. So this is the kind of ecology based question that is related to the logistic growth model and population growth model. So here we can see that given question says that a population size at t equal to 0 is 80 and has a growth rate of 0.12. If the population follows the logistic growth, what is the growth rate constant if the carrying capacity is 240? So this is the question. So before we should proceed to this question, we should remember the formula that is related to this question. Okay, the growth rate constant R has a formula that is R equal to R naught divided by 1 minus N naught oblique K. So what is R here? R is the population growth rate. Okay, N naught is the population original and K is the carrying capacity. Okay, this is the formula that we have for calculating the growth rate constant. That is also called as the intrinsic growth. Okay, so this is the growth rate constant. So according to the formula, we have all the things here with us. That is the original population is 80 as given it, and that the population growth rate is 0.12, as well as we have the carrying capacity, that is 240. So putting in this equation, we got the answer, that is 0.18. So our answer is 0.18. This is a very simple question, but you should remember the formula of growth rate constant. Before I will suggest you try this question after reading the logistic growth rate and concept of carrying capacity before answering this question. So you should remember this. Again, there is a question from the same population growth model. Okay, so what is telling here? So here we can seeing that there is an initial population of a species in an ecosystem is 1000 and its growth rate is 0.9 per year. The carrying capacity of the ecosystem is 10,000. Assuming a logistic growth for the population of the species, what is the maximum sustainable yield of a ecosystem? So what is the maximum sustainable yield of a ecosystem? So before going to this question, you should remember this kind of equations, because this is very typical questions that is coming in our exam. You should remember this question, otherwise you will fail. So before adding this question, I would like to introduce with this formula, that is dn upon dt, that is rate of change of population maximum equal to growth rate, that is R, carrying capacity K square upon 4 into K minus N naught. So this formula you should remember before applying this kind of questions. Okay, so what is the formula? Now putting in the formula, we just get the answer, that is 2500 species per year. So this is our answer in this question. So in this question, we are again dealing with the population growth rate model. Okay, then this question also tells about that the country has a population of 350 million. So before you will answer this kind of questions, you should remember all the formulas related to the population growth model as we discussed earlier. Okay, so the annual growth rate of the population is 2%, as well as the after population stabilize at 1.4 billion, we have a carrying capacity, that is 1.4 billion. So how long it will take for a population to reach the 0.7 billion? Okay, I always introduce those formula which is very relevant to answer this kind of question. Again, the same formula that we used earlier in the previous problems, that is the rate constant, that is the R equal to R naught upon 1 minus N naught upon K, that we are using in this also. Okay, so R equal to 0.02 minus 1 minus 0.35 into 10 to the power 9 upon 1.40 into 10 to the power 9. So what we are getting here, 0.35 into 10 to the power 9, we are getting how? Okay, you should ask what is 0.35 into 10 to the power 9 and what is 0.02. So here we have seen that there is a 2% growth rate of a population. So if we divide 2 by 100, you will get 0.2. So this is written here. Okay, and 350 million is 0.35 billion. So I have written 0.35 into 10 to the power 9. So final answer after calculation of the mathematical terms, we get 0.08 divided by 3. Okay, so again there is a kind of introduction of new formula that is used for the human population growth model. So this is the formula. So you will use this formula to calculate the accurate value of the population when it reaches 0.7 billion. So T equal to 1 upon R, that is the growth rate constant R, ln n upon n naught k minus n naught upon k minus n. So putting the formula of R, that is the growth rate constant, we get 3 upon 0.08 ln logarithm 0.70 upon 0.35, and all the 10 power will be cut out from here. Okay, all the 10 powers will cut out. Just we will get the answer, that is 3 upon 0.08 into ln 3. So before you should proceed for UGC NET exam, you should remember the logarithmic value of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. You should remember all those things before, because it will ease your answers to find out this value. That is, we get the answer 41.29 years. That is 41.3 years. I hope this is very relevant topic for your UGC NET exam and you have enjoyed the lecture. With thanks. Bye bye.